What's your reaction to the Electoral Commission's move to disqualify Luhaga Mpina again, just days after the courts cleared him to run?
I think this is yet another step for the ruling party CCM to have their presidential candidate, Samia Suluhu Hassan, who's the president, run unopposed. As you mentioned earlier on in the year, you had the arrest of Tundu Lissu, who's still in custody. But again, the main opposition party, Chadema, has been disqualified from participating in the general election. This, second ban comes in to just show that, these elections will be a selection and we only are waiting for a declaration of a president and not any elections.
Do you see this as part of a wider pattern where opposition voices are being pushed out of the political space in Tanzania?
It is a pattern, an authoritarian practices that we are seeing not just in Tanzania, in the region. You know what happened recently to Riek Machar, who's also an opposition leader in South Sudan. We know that in Uganda, we have its opposition leader Kizza Besigye, who's in custody in prison since November last year. But in Tanzania, it is even more entrenched because now you see with the kind of repression that we continue seeing, it's just not the opposition leader; it's also all other independent voices. We've recently seen ban of newspapers, media outlets. We've seen, NGO and activists threatened and arrested. We've seen some flee the country. So it is a climate that has been planted in a way that there is fear. And this fear now is leading to also some kind of, non-participation or opposition parties and opposition leaders fearing to freely participate, or when they have the muscles, when they have the courage to do so, they are disqualified, as we are seeing in the case of Luhaga Mpina.
So, what does this all mean then for the credibility of these elections?
Definitely, if you look at, as I've mentioned, the way that the state is suppressing the freedom of expression, suppressing freedom of association, suppressing freedom of, peaceful assembly, then we are seeing that the elections will be happening in a climate that will be full of violations of rights. And this is not the kind of environment that we want to see, or people expect an election to have the will of the people behind it. So it is really worrying. The trend is worrying, and we hope that Tanzania does not lead the region into similar actions where the ruling party and the state are really going to elections having suppressed every other voices that opposes it.
President Samia Suluhu Hassan says her government has achieved a lot and is promising reforms, including a new constitution. From where you stand, are these genuine steps, towards moving forward in terms of the country, or just campaign talk?
At the end of the day, in campaigns, we hear so much from politicians. We hear so much from, especially, ruling parties, because they are the incumbency, they're the ones in power. But again, with all the talk that we hear, they amount to nothing if there is no environment whereby people can criticize, people can really, freely access information. People can, freely criticize, look for information and really, test whatever it is being said against what they know. And this is what we are not having in Tanzania. A few years ago, critics of a port deal between the UAE and Tanzania were arrested and were almost charged with treason, meaning that you cannot even question a development agenda. So if that is used as a campaign, messaging, if it's used as a campaign, tool, that we've done this development and this, yet nobody is allowed to even question or even test the facts, then it is really worrying. So I can neither affirm, confirm or really deny that, there has been growth or development from President Samia Suluhu Hassan.
All right, Roland, thanks so much for your time. We'll leave it there for now.
Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Roland Ebole is Amnesty International's regional researcher for East Africa.
In this episode of Channel